Distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we have end momentous gathering in our shared effort to secure the future of our nations and of our oceans. I commend you for the 4 days of productive, candid, and forward-looking deliberations. The ocean faces significant and, in many respects, unprecedented challenges. By absorbing 90% of excess heat trapped by greenhouse gases and almost a third of our carbon dioxide emissions, it has quietly altered its own chemistry and physics to shield the rest of us from harm. But the oceans can absorb only so much. And now it is pushing back. Rising seas are displacing millions in low-lying coasts and islands. Acidifying waters are corroding the base of the marine food chain and the livelihoods built upon them. Stronger storms, marine heat waves, storm surges, and coastal flooding are destroying infrastructure and straining communities already stretched very thin. Marine pollution, above all plastics, is reaching the deepest trenches and affecting even the smallest fish. For too long, our response has been held back by weak political will, inadequate finance, the slow deployment of technology and innovation, limited capacity, and governance that is fragmented, weakly regulated, and poorly enforced. Yet human ingenuity has always risen in moments of difficulty, turning hardship into opportunity. And in this direction, we are now making progress. Consider this. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea gave us the Constitution of the Ocean. In the past year alone, 2 landmark agreements have given it force. The High Seas Treaty entered into force last January, becoming the first legal framework to protect biodiversity across the nearly 2/3 of the ocean that belongs to no single nation. Complementing this achievement, the World Trade Organization's agreement on fisheries subsidies entered into force in September 2025, making it the first World Trade Organization agreement devoted to sustainability. I say this with particular pride, as Kenya was among the nations whose ratification finally carried that agreement over the line and into force. We do not merely host this conference. We help carry it. So we end this summit on a very high note. Over 6,000 delegates from, I am told, 104 countries and institutions have gathered here to turn ambition into action. Together, you have registered over 300 new commitments with a combined value of about $5.7 billion. Kenya alone has made 40 commitments valued at $1.1 billion in support of our blue economy. And I will give you context. 3 years ago, we made a deliberate and conscious decision that the blue economy, our oceans and waters were not contributing significantly to our gross domestic product and also to our progress as a nation. And I took the decision that I am going to have a dedicated blue economy and fisheries state department. As a result, in the last 3 years, we have invested 20.3 billion Kenya shillings in our blue economy and fisheries ecosystem. We completed 3 fish landing sites. We have another 5 under construction at the Indian Ocean coast and 10 in Lake Victoria, so a total of 15 fish landing sites that are going on, and markets at a cost of 2.8 billion Kenya shillings. I did break ground for the construction of Shimoni Fish Port 2 years ago, which is now complete. We are now looking for an operator at a cost of 2.6 billion Kenya shillings. We have built 2 centers of excellence for aquaculture, one in Kabonyo in Kisumu and another one in Kwale, both at a cost of 2.5 billion Kenya shillings, already at the final stages of completion.